On Larkin News 8, let's get you right out to Treadwell Park in Newtown, where a state police briefing is underway.
Has been positively identified as Nancy Lanza. Her birth date is September 6, 1960. Her cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds, and the death has been ruled a homicide. The male subject identified as the shooter at Sandy Hook Elementary School has been positively identified as Adam Lanza. He resided at that residence. His cause of death was gunshot wound, and his death has been ruled a suicide. There have been questions about the weaponry, and I'd like to take a minute to discuss with you briefly, very superficially, some of the information that we can be released at this time. The weapon that was utilized most of the time during this horrific crime was identified as a Bushmaster AR-15 assault-type weapon. It had high-capacity magazines. In addition to that, the subject had in his possession a Glock 10mm, a Sig Sauer 9mm. Both weapons, all weapons, have multiple magazines and additional ammunition. The fourth weapon recovered was a shotgun that was recovered from the suspect's vehicle that was parked outside of the school. That weaponry is going, as I said, is going to be completely examined in the forensic laboratory. It's going to be historically searched so we can attempt to determine every path that those weapons took since they were manufactured, every time that they were used, and as much information as possible that we can obtain relative to each and every weapon. The last thing, and I just would like to restate what we stated this morning, about anyone that harasses, threatens, or intimidates, or interferes with the investigation utilizing any social media of any type relative to this horrific crime will be fully investigated and fully prosecuted to the extent of the law. We're talking about harassment includes in-person contact, but also contact on the internet, social media, telephone, or any other means of communication. We again are asking and imploring members of the media to please respect the family's privacies. We are continuing to staff a trooper as a conduit or a line of communication to assist the families, all 26 families in this incident, and we'll do so per the Colonel of State Police indefinitely. I'll take a couple of questions, again understanding that there are certain things that we still cannot answer and cannot discuss.
Can you tell us what happened with the threat at the church?
You may, sir. Yours?
Tell us about the threat at the church.
There was in fact a threat at the St. Rose Lima Church here in Newtown. The church, everything is taken extremely seriously. The church was evacuated as a precaution. It was thoroughly searched, as was the rectory, and we've initiated a criminal investigation working with Newtown Police in this particular incident. I have no further details. I do not know the content of the threat, but suffice it to say, we treat these kind of instances as serious crimes. They're investigated as such, and if the perpetrator of that is identified, that individual will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Was it phoned in, though? Did you tell us that? As a phone call? Who did the phone call go to?
Again, that's as much information as I have on it.
Was it a phone call, though? Can you just tell us that?
Yes.
Okay, Lieutenant, you talked about the Bushmaster was used most of the time. Can you give any details as to, first of all, what weapon Nancy Lanza was shot with, and second of all, did he use the handguns at all at the school?
I do not know the weapon that Nancy Lanza was shot with. I simply don't know that. The Bushmaster was used, as was explained yesterday, in the school in its entirety, and the handgun was used to take his own life.
And as a follow-up, can you tell me about the bullets fired from the Bushmaster? Is there any ricochet action out of them?
That's the trajectory of the shots and all of the ammunition used in this horrific crime will be examined and thoroughly reported in the report. I don't have that information to be able to begin to speculate.
Multiple magazines.
That's correct.
Are these high-capacity magazines?
High-capacity, multiple high-capacity magazines.
How many rounds do you have?
Approximately 30 rounds per magazine.
And how many magazines?
Several, but just numerous.
Hundreds of bullets?
Hundreds of bullets, yes.
Are those 30 rounds per magazine just for the rifle, or are those also for the handgun?
High-capacity magazine for the rifle, all right, and multiple magazines for the rifle, and multiple magazines for both handguns.
Lieutenant, is there any indication that the teachers use their bodies to protect the
I don't want to state that. I'm sure they did everything they could, but I don't want to get into that specific detail if I can at this time.
Is it possible?
Again, motive, as I discussed earlier, that will come as we finish the investigation. We simply can't piecemeal it. We don't have a specific reason that we can stand here and say this occurred. We will, and we are searching diligently and nonstop to attempt to answer that question.
Did the shooter take his own life as police were coming out?
The timeline is being established by investigators, so that's the best I can do with that.
May we ask a point of clarification?
You can, sir.
Schools from this morning, we're talking about the plans for the schools. Will the Newtown schools remain closed all week? And I think you were indicating that the plans for the school building itself are still very up.
Yeah, go ahead, Ned.
Yeah, that's correct. We're still working with the superintendent of schools to do what's best. Obviously, it's an emotional time. The plan right now is still up in the air. They're finalizing the plans, and we'll get that information out to you as soon as possible.
Is it safe to say that the Newtown schools will remain closed for this week?
As I said, it's still to be determined.
Yeah.
Do we know how many shots were fired yet?
That's impossible to say. We do know how many rounds we've recovered. We do know how many shell casings we've recovered. I don't have that information to publicly give out just yet.
And how many?
I'd be speculating and guessing.
And how many magazines were empty?
Numerous. Again, that's all investigatory information that I'm not privy to. I simply don't have that to give you.
You know how many
Lieutenant, has a time frame?
found?
Many,
Five.
hundreds.
I mean, he had plenty left.
Hundreds. Yes, sir.
Hundreds on him that he had not used yet.
Correct.
Which weapon, Lieutenant?
Sir?
Which weapon was used to kill his mother?
I don't know that.
Lieutenant, has anything changed in the president's visit as a result of
No, the President of the United States is attending memorial service tonight, and he is coming to the town of Newtown.
What is the security and access going to be like for that, for the public and also for the media?
Yeah, again, we don't discuss the security for the President of the United States. Suffice it to say that significant security will be in place, as is always the case when the President makes a visit anywhere.
Lieutenant, has a time frame for Miss Lance's death been established?
No, sir. No, sir.
Time at all?
No time frame has been determined.
Who's invited to the memorial?
Yes, sir.
Are you making progress, though, you feel, in determining the motive?
Yeah, certainly we're pleased with the work that's been done so far. I'm hoping that helps answer that question. We're pleased with the progress that we're making. This is a very long, tedious process, which I've stated. It's going to take many, many man-hours, okay, to attempt to draw this picture together, to put this puzzle together. The minute we have it, our objective here is to make sure that you, the members of the public, receive that information as quickly, as efficiently as possible. But to state right now that we have a motive, we're prepared to discuss publicly, it just cannot happen. We just do not have that information for public dissemination.
Can you go into any detail about the teacher who saved the children by putting the children into a closet?
No, I would again, I don't want to discuss the crime scene at all. Your ma'am?
What do you think by the suspect's home? Computers, notebooks, anything?
We did seize a great deal of evidence. Our detectives have executed numerous search warrants in this case. We do not detail the content of what we seize in any criminal investigation. I can tell you that we were successful in seizing a great deal of evidence in this investigation. All that evidence, every stitch of it, needs to be analyzed, and it will be, whether it's at our forensic laboratory or by specialists within our department or other departments as time goes on. We anticipate this is going to be the last discussion today. With the President coming in, we've got a great deal on our plate. If anything additional should surface between now and tomorrow morning, okay, we will post it on our website, on the State Police website. We do not anticipate anything of a public nature to arise, but should it arise, I would suggest check our website on a regular basis.
We apologize for that tone and those color bars, as we call them. State Police just wrapping up a news conference to update the investigation into the Newtown school shooting. We can update that news conference to tell you that President Obama has now landed in Connecticut. The president coming here,
Fabio,
as Paul Vance just said, to meet with families in Newtown. Mark Davis is at the airport as Air Force One taxis in. As soon as we're able to talk to Mark, we'll bring you some talk back. The president will attend a couple of prayer services tonight. The Interfaith Vigil in Newtown that's being held tonight at 7 o'clock will be closed to the public, but we're told the president will speak at that event. The event will be closed off to the public. We expect to bring you as much coverage as we possibly can, but there you see live now Air Force One as it taxis into Connecticut with President Obama aboard. He has canceled a trip to Portland, Maine to make this visit. In Portland, Maine, the subject was politics and finances and the economy. He was going to make a speech to advance his plan on how to deal with the so-called fiscal cliff that takes effect in January. Mark Davis is at the airport with more on the arrival. Mark?
Good afternoon, Don. Good afternoon, everyone. We are here at the Connecticut Air National Guard Terminal in East Granby. For those of you who don't know, this is the west side of Bradley International Airport. When you're at the regular terminal, the passenger terminal, you can barely see over here, but if you're looking straight out, it's way on the opposite side of the field, across the town line, of course, because the airport straddles Windsor Locks, Suffield, and East Granby. We're on the East Granby side. And Air Force One just touching down here about 10 minutes ago and taxiing up here to the Air National Guard Terminal. And we expect the president to be emerging from the plane shortly to make his trip to Newtown for this very, very somber visit. It is, Don, as you know, I believe the fourth time the president has had to do something like this because of the shootings that have occurred, but none involving young children like this, which of course has just brought a tear to the eye to almost the entire world. It's overwhelming what an impact this has had on all of us. The schedule did call for Mrs. Obama to be making the trip, but apparently there was a last-minute cancellation for some reason, which we have been unable to ascertain. And now you see the hatch door is open. And shortly the motorcade will be pulling up, and here it comes now. The president will be going to Newtown by automobile. And as you know, from here to Newtown is generally about an hour and a half, but of course the presidential motorcade travels much faster than most of us. So he would be probably there within, I would think, 45 minutes at the speeds they travel, certainly under an hour, where he will be meeting privately with the families and the first responders who had that dreadful, dreadful chore on Friday.
Mark, we expect that the president will be leaving later tonight after speaking in Newtown, perhaps around 9 o'clock or so. Have you heard anything in terms of those plans for a departure later this evening?
Yes, he will be departing from right here just a couple hours after that service, and is scheduled to be back at the White House. I think it's between 10 and 11. He got here actually faster than they thought because they obviously caught the jet stream. Those of you who travel between Connecticut and Florida or Washington, you know that quite often the jet stream can help them get up here faster on the way back home. And that was the case for Air Force One this afternoon.
What,
now you see, I believe you can see the motorcade is at the ready.
Mark, what kind of reception committee is there to greet the president, if any at all? Are you able to see?
I do see a few people, and I can't quite make out from this distance who is here. But it's not like a regular presidential visit, you know, where all the members of Congress would be here. They're all in Newtown, and I believe the governor is still there too. I don't. Do you see the governor, Joe? Anyone? I can't quite make out who that is there, but it looks like just some photographers and Secret Service people. Yeah, no, I don't see any formal reception, which may be the case for this. Perhaps when he emerges from the plane, we'll get a better view.
It is pretty impressive, isn't it, to watch Air Force One there on the runway at the Air National Guard terminal.
Oh, here he is now. Here is the president. And there is no official greeter. He's just getting in the car and heading off to Newtown. Again, if you're just joining us, he will travel by motorcade to Newtown and probably be there, we would suspect, in under an hour, because, of course, they shut down the interstates for him to allow him to pass by. That'll give him a good hour and a half of private time with the families and the first responders before that memorial service tonight at 7 at the high school.
Well, Mark, I know you've been studying the traffic patterns in and out of East Granby for a long, long time. What's the best route from there to Newtown?
Well, there's only one route. It's Route 20 to 91 to 84.
Right.
And as I say, for those of us who travel at the speed limits or close to it, I mean, that's about an hour and a half trip. But they'll be going a lot faster, of course. What time is it now?
We've got about 6.5 minutes past 4 o'clock. Yeah,
it's about 4:08. Well, that means, yeah, he should probably be to Newtown by 5 o'clock then, easily. And there they go.